After winning the lottery, the first thing I did was tell my twin sister, Sarah. I squeezed her hand, my voice thick with emotion. "Finally, I can make your dream of studying abroad come true." Sarah nodded, tears welling in her eyes. But on the day we were supposed to leave the country, she conspired with my ex-boyfriend, Mark, and sold me to human traffickers. Not only did they take all my money, but they also swindled every penny from my parents. Then, the two of them settled abroad, completely cutting off contact with our family. My parents, left with nowhere to go, ended up in a nursing home where they were abused by the staff. Not long after, they both passed away. When I opened my eyes, I was back on the day I won the lottery. I saw Sarah standing not far away. Silently, I slipped the lottery ticket into my pocket. When school ended, Sarah texted me. "Sis, you have some good news to tell me, don't you? I skipped class and I'm right outside your classroom. Sneak out and meet me for a bit." Could Sarah have also been reborn? I reached into my pocket, clutching the lottery ticket tightly. In my previous life, on this very day, I had discovered I won the lottery. And as soon as school was over, I rushed to tell Sarah, "Finally, I can make your dream of studying abroad come true." Afterward, Sarah accompanied me to claim the prize. The money, after taxes, was split, half for my parents and a quarter each for Sarah and me. As soon as we graduated, we started preparing to study abroad together. But I never imagined that, while I was filled with hope for a new life, Sarah would conspire with Mark to sell me. Recalling this, I picked up my phone and texted Sarah back. "Good news? What good news? I haven't even finished class yet, I can't come out. Don't wait for me. I have to go to the club later, I won't have time to see you." Sarah immediately retorted, "Are you trying to surprise me? Are you running a fever? What nonsense are you talking about? If you have something to say, just say it." Seeing my apparent displeasure, Sarah cut straight to the chase. "Sis, you bought a lottery ticket a few days ago, right? The results just came out and you won the grand prize." I continued to feign ignorance. "Are you dreaming? I never buy lottery tickets." "Don't hide it from me, sis. I'm going home first. I know you want to surprise the whole family, that's why you won't admit it. Let me go home and tell Mom and Dad the good news. Tomorrow, we can go claim the prize together, okay? I've already requested leave for you." It seemed she wasn't giving up. With her memories from the previous life, she was certain I had won. Not wanting to drag it out, I immediately contacted my best friend, Kelly. Kelly had been my childhood friend, the same age as me. 2 years ago, her parents died in a car accident, leaving her alone. Since then, I had intentionally grown closer to Kelly. Gradually, we went from friends to sisters. In my previous life, after winning the lottery, I sent Kelly a sum of money. Not only did she refuse to accept it, but she also treated me to a meal to thank me, saying that her tuition and living expenses were already sufficient and she didn't need more money. When she heard I went missing abroad, Kelly immediately quit her job, took all the money her parents left her, and went abroad alone to find me. There, she worked odd jobs while searching for news of me. Sadly, by the time she found me, I was already dead. With the help of the police, she brought my body back home and entrusted it to my parents for burial. After all that, I knew she was someone I could trust, even more than family. Lottery tickets have no names. This time, I decided to share this fortune with Kelly. After school, I quickly called Kelly. She happily agreed and even offered to write an IOU to prevent any suspicion of her taking my money. I immediately refused. Trust was more valuable than money. That evening, I went to Kelly's house, gave her the lottery ticket, and told her to wait for my signal before claiming the prize. Once everything was settled, I returned home feeling relieved. As soon as I stepped through the door, asterisk boom, countless colorful paper fragments rained down, covering my face and clothes. I froze in place. In front of me, Sarah was holding a confetti cannon, continuously firing it at me. I tilted my head and looked at her. "Are you crazy? It's night, why aren't you sleeping? What kind of game are you playing?" Sarah turned on the light and said mischievously, "You won the grand prize, sis. I'm congratulating you." Looking at my parents sitting in the living room, bewildered and not knowing what to do, I sighed softly. Sarah had made such a fuss about me winning the lottery, even buying a cake and mysteriously sticking red papers all over the walls, claiming she wanted to celebrate and announcing that the whole family would go claim the prize tomorrow. The loud bang just now had startled me, almost scaring me out of my wits. It wasn't until I saw the cake on the table and scanned the living room that I noticed the walls were covered with crooked, messy, colorful papers. I was so furious that I took off my handbag and threw it straight at Sarah. Then, I pulled out everything from my pockets for her to see. Go ahead, search all you want. If you find the lottery ticket, it's all yours. Sarah opened my handbag, emptied all its contents onto the sofa, and frantically searched. Tina, where did you hide the lottery ticket? Hurry up and get it out. I want to study abroad. I gave a faint smile. Are you daydreaming? If I really won, I'd definitely keep the ticket with me at all times. Lottery tickets aren't named, whoever holds it claims it. I'm not foolish enough to leave it lying around for someone else to pick up. Sarah suddenly stopped searching, her eyes distant. She mumbled to herself, could it have been a dream? No, it couldn't have been a dream. She was about to say, Reborn, but she glanced at our parents and swallowed the words. Mom stood up and walked over to Sarah, placing a hand on her forehead. Sarah, you seem to have a fever. You've been making a racket all night, that's enough. Go to your room and sleep. Your dad and I are tired because of you. We have to go to work tomorrow. With that, Mom pushed Sarah, who was still in a daze, back to her room. This charade finally ended. The next day, I went to school on time. During class, I received a text from Sarah. Tina, where are you? I'm at the prize claim center. Why don't I see you? Didn't you say we'd go claim the prize together today? I replied, what's wrong with you? I'm in class. I didn't even buy a lottery ticket, so what would I claim? Is your head still not clear? Tina, you won't admit it. You just want to surprise me, right? I don't want to wait anymore. Let's go today, okay? I immediately turned off my phone. I'm in class. You can go do your crazy stunts by yourself. After sending the message, I immediately turned off my phone. In the following days, Sarah stopped bothering me. She also appeared in class on time during lessons. I knew she was plotting a new scheme. Taking advantage of this, I told Kelly to go claim the prize. That evening, Sarah invited me to stroll around the most luxurious shopping mall in the city. She pointed at a display wall and told a sales associate, "Wrap all of these up for me." I quickly stopped her. Sarah, are you crazy? Even if you won the lottery, all these luxury items are probably enough to buy our house. Sarah winked mischievously. It's not that I won, it's you who won. I've already bought them. What do you plan to do? Or should we just stand here until the staff calls the police and says we bought things without paying? I turned my head and yelled at the sales associate, "Don't wrap anything, we're not buying anything. My sister has gone mad, she's not normal." After saying that, I pulled Sarah to leave. She gripped the door frame tightly, turning back to the associate. "I'm not crazy, wrap them all up. My sister has money, my sister won the lottery." Countless curious eyes stared at us. I felt my face burning with anger and embarrassment. The sales associate stood there, unsure how to handle the situation. I let go of her hand and walked away. "If you like it, buy it yourself. Goodbye." Thud, Sarah fell flat on the ground. I ignored her and ran off. That evening, I returned home. A while later, Sarah also came back, holding several new designer handbags. She waved them in front of me nonchalantly. "Tina, the lottery shop at the end of the alley has a banner saying someone won the grand prize. You definitely snuck off to claim it. You wouldn't pay today because the prize money hasn't been transferred yet, right? It's okay, I've already swiped my credit card. When you receive the prize money, you can just pay me back a little extra." I turned my back and returned to my room, slamming the door shut. In my previous life, Sarah often complained about our family's circumstances. She would cry and blame our parents for not being able to provide her with a materialistic life like other wealthy parents. But in reality, our family wasn't bad at all. Both our parents were civil servants. Sarah and I never had to worry about food or education. Every week, our parents would even treat us to a fancy meal. While phones, computers, and clothes weren't replaced every year, we got new ones every few years. Yet, Sarah always liked to compare herself to the few rich kids in our class. She blamed our parents for not being able to dress her in designer brands, for not being able to send her to study abroad, and even for not being able to let her travel the world and enjoy life. She often said, "Why do people have to work for money?" Traveling the world, eating delicious food, and living a lavish life, that's asterisk living. In my previous life, after I won the lottery, the first thing I thought of was helping her fulfill her dream of studying abroad. I supported expanding her horizons and acquiring knowledge. I thought her vanity and tendency to compare were just because she was young and didn't understand how hard our parents worked for money. But I never expected that very thought to lead to my death and bury my parents' old age. A message from Mark pulled me out of my memories. "Tina, I'm back from my hometown after ancestral worship. I'll be back at school tomorrow. Let's go out for dinner tomorrow night, okay?" Thinking of my previous life, my hands trembled with anger. Mark and I dated in college. We hadn't been together for long when, at a gathering with friends, Sarah joked that a fortune teller once told her that her older sister would win the lottery, but she would be the beneficiary. "Isn't that strange?" she'd said. A few days later, Mark, a mutual friend of Sarah's and mine who was also at that party, confessed his feelings for me. It wasn't until Mark and Sarah conspired to sell me to human traffickers that I remembered this story in a daze. It turned out he only came to me because of a joke. I gritted my teeth and texted him, my heart filled with resentment. "Let's break up, don't ask why, there's no reason." After sending the message, I blocked all contact with him. Then I leaned back in my chair, beginning to ponder how to deal with this battle. "Mark, Sarah, I will not spare either of you in this life. I will make sure these two scoundrels get what they deserve." The next day, Mark blocked my way at the cafeteria entrance. He looked at me furiously and asked, "Tina, what's wrong with you? Explain it clearly. You just broke up with me and then blocked all my contact. Do you have someone else?" I stared at him, a surge of disgust welling up inside me. "Yes, your mom." He was stunned by my insult, not understanding why someone as gentle as me had suddenly changed so much. He stammered in anger, "You dare insult me? What right do you have to insult me?" I couldn't help but retort, "The right of your mother." His face turned red. He was so angry he couldn't speak. I pushed him away and left. It wasn't that I wanted to make a scene like this, I just couldn't stand seeing his hateful face. In my previous life, not being able to study abroad was one of my biggest regrets. In this life, I was determined to make up for it. I contacted Kelly, asking if she would study abroad with me after graduation, and I would sponsor her expenses. 2 days later, she agreed. She said she didn't need my sponsorship. She would try to get a scholarship and work part-time while studying. I knew Kelly was an excellent student, and for her, studying at a prestigious university at home before going abroad was the perfect choice. She wouldn't just get a degree, but would truly learn something useful. After that, I focused on preparing for my study abroad plan and was determined to deal with Mark and Sarah before I left. As Sarah's credit card payment due date approached, seeing no action from me, she couldn't take it anymore. She invited me to dinner at a restaurant. At the table, Sarah pouted. "Sis, I have a surprise for you today. If you're happy, could you help me pay off my credit card debt?" I looked at her with a complicated expression, my face filled with helplessness. Sarah clapped her hands. Music filled the restaurant and the lights dimmed. A familiar figure pushed a food cart toward us. It was Mark. My stomach suddenly churned. Mark approached me. On the cart was a cake. He knelt on one knee, pulled a bouquet of flowers from behind his back, and loudly declared, "Tina, I love you. Let's get back together." A wave of nausea rose in my throat, and I vomited the bowl of soup I had just drunk all over his face. His face was covered in creamy mushroom soup. Mark spat out 2 small mushrooms from his mouth. Sarah laughed uproariously at the sight, while the surrounding waitstaff struggled to maintain serious expressions, trying not to burst out laughing. Mark's expression immediately turned ferocious, but just a few seconds later, he forced a smile, trying to appear gentle. He stood up, took a napkin from the table, wiped his face, and looked at me with tender eyes. "All right, as long as you're happy." He stood beside the table, but I didn't invite him to sit, making the atmosphere awkward. Sarah quickly broke the silence, calling for another chair. Then she turned to me. "Sis, it's just one meal. All the unhappy things are in the past now." My heart skipped a beat. It seemed Sarah had told Mark about the lottery ticket. Mark surely thought I broke up with him because I won the lottery. In their eyes, this matter was a certainty. If 2 dogs want the same bone, the best way is to throw the bone to the weaker one. That way, the weaker one will desperately protect the bone, while the stronger one won't easily let the weaker one win. After eating half the meal, Sarah saw that my expression had softened and took the initiative to bring up the lottery. "Sis, I heard from a classmate that you're preparing to study abroad soon. Why don't you take me with you? You know, I've always wanted to study abroad since I was little. I glanced at him and immediately agreed. All right, but you only have half a year until graduation. You'll have to study hard. Sarah's eyes widened with joy. Yes, yes. Oh, sis, by the way, could you pay my credit card bill this month? It's only a little over 200,000 yuan. I quickly said, what money do I have to pay with? Then I looked at Mark. Mark immediately refused. Don't look at me. What money do I have? Didn't you win the lottery? Go help your sister pay her credit card bill. I smirked. Who told you I won the lottery? My money is for my boyfriend, not for paying my sister's debts. Sarah tugged at my sleeve, feigning grievance. Sis, do you really not care about your little sister? I pulled my hand away from her. I'm in love, and I don't have any money. After saying that, I rested my chin on my hand and looked at Mark, my face full of sorrow. His family background wasn't bad, but over 200,000 yuan was definitely not a sum he could pay immediately. He could only pay in installments. Mark frowned. Don't look at me, I'm a student. How could I have that much money? I smiled. Credit cards allow installments, right? Sarah, if we're united, difficult things become easy. This still requires us sisters to help each other. Sarah was stunned, then immediately nodded vigorously. Yes, yes, installments are fine too. Mark glanced away evasively, while Sarah continuously winked, signaling him. Based on my calculations from the previous life, they had probably been secretly seeing each other. Mark tilted his head back and chugged his glass of wine, as if preparing for a sacrifice. He gritted his teeth and said, Okay, I'll pay for your sister. I immediately smiled, my eyes sparkling as I looked at him with admiration. Men who pay are the most handsome. I turned to Sarah and winked. Did I choose the right boyfriend? You should learn from him. I even gave a thumbs up as a gesture of praise. I guessed that at this moment Mark was thinking, just a sum of money can handle both women, and later I can get a share of the lottery prize. It's worth it. Even if I didn't give him the money, Sarah would help him get the prize. He also knew I wouldn't easily give the money to Sarah, otherwise, Sarah wouldn't have asked him for help today. It was like a donkey with a carrot dangling in front of it, seemingly within reach, but in reality, impossibly far away. From that day on, I maintained a friendly relationship with Mark. Whenever he tried to get closer, I would find excuses to refuse, sometimes saying my homework was too much, other times saying I wanted to test him more. He wasn't in a hurry either, because his main goal was the prize money, and behind my back, he was secretly seeing Sarah. One day, while having dinner with Mark, I deliberately got him drunk. When he went to the restroom to vomit, I quickly opened his unlocked phone. In my previous life, I had discovered his infidelity through photos on his phone, so this time I immediately checked his photo album. Sure enough, there were many intimate photos of him with other girls. I continued searching and also found his transfer history from the past half year. I quickly sent all this information to my own phone, then saved his father's WeChat number. I put the phone back on the table as if nothing had happened. Back home, I created a new WeChat account, posing as Mark's ex-girlfriend to friend his father, Mr. Evans. After he accepted, I sent a polite greeting and clarified my identity. Hello, uncle, I'm Mark's ex-girlfriend. Recently, I discovered some things, so I broke up with him. I noticed he spends a lot of money, even paying installments for someone else. How can a university student have so much pocket money? I suspect this is your money. The other side didn't reply immediately, leaving me on pins and needles. I worried he wouldn't take my words seriously. After a long while, Mr. Evans finally messaged back, No way, our family is very ordinary. I only give him necessary living expenses. I sent him a screenshot of the transfer history. But this bank card is in your name. Even the money in the card has been transferred out by him. Another 10 minutes passed. Finally, Mr. Evans replied, Almost all my savings have been spent by him. Luckily, you reminded me, but please don't tell him that someone sent me this message. Otherwise, he'll know it was you and seek revenge. I reassured him, and he promised to keep it a secret. A few days later, Mark didn't come to school. When I saw him again, he was wearing a large mask and limping. Even with the mask, his face still looked swollen and red. His source of money had been cut off, so he naturally couldn't pay Sarah's debt. Not long after, Sarah sought him out. She stood in front of the male dormitory, calling his name for a long time. Eventually, he reluctantly came downstairs. The two walked into a small grove on campus, one after the other, seemingly preparing for an important conversation. I quietly followed them. Not long after, they stopped. I hid behind a large tree not far away. Sarah spoke first, her voice full of blame, asking Mark, "What's wrong with you? My debt is overdue." Mark sighed. "Something happened at my house. I don't have money to pay for you anymore. You'll have to figure it out yourself." Sarah thought for a few seconds, then continued, "Or, what do you think about finding my sister? She still won't admit she won the lottery, but I'm sure she did. I just can't find any proof. I went to the prize claim center, but they wouldn't reveal anything. I think, whether she won or not, we should still try to trick some money out of her. If we succeed, we can use this method to trick other people too." Hearing Sarah's words, Mark's spirits lifted. Sure enough, when it came to scams, he was a seasoned pro. "That's a great idea. We need to plan this carefully. I'll be on the front lines and you'll be behind the scenes. This deal is sure to succeed." Sarah nodded. "Then let's go home tonight and think of a concrete plan." After saying that, they both turned and left. I quickly dodged to the side, a cold smile playing on my lips. "Excellent. Let's see how I cooperate with you two to get scammed." The next day, Mark contacted me on the phone. He recounted his family's misfortune in a voice that was almost crying. "Tina, the reason I haven't contacted you lately is because something big happened to my family. I had planned to pay your sister's credit card bill and take both of you on an international trip at the end of the year, but now my family's business is having problems and we urgently need a sum of money. Could you help me a little? I'll give you a percentage of the profits." I immediately offered comfort, pretending to be concerned and showing interest in the investment. "Don't be sad. Business always has its ups and downs. It'll be fine. So, how much do you need and what's the profit percentage? Let me see if there's a way." Mark thought for a moment, then tentatively suggested, 300,000 yuan, 10% profit per year. I asked again, 300,000 is enough. How much is the total shortfall? Mark blurted out, "Of course, the more the better." Perhaps realizing he had misspoken, he quickly corrected himself. "I mean, the more capital, the higher the profit." I smiled. "All right, how about this? I'll try my best to gather 300,000 yuan. Part of it is to help you, and part is to invest and earn money. But for such a good opportunity, why don't you try to find more investors? There are many well-off people around, like John." Mark seemed to realize something. "You're right, that's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? So, when can you transfer your money?" "Give me some time to gather it. I don't have that much money right now. You go find more people too. Let's all work together. By the time you find a few more people, I'll have gathered enough money." Okay, I'll quickly find more people." Perhaps he didn't expect me to be so easily fooled. Sarah didn't contact me but quickly created a small chat group with Mark. The group consisted of their closest friends, and even Kelly was in it. Kelly messaged me privately. "All right, sis. Mark just told me his family business needs capital. I guess this was your idea, so I agreed. Now I'm asking you to be sure." I replied, "That's right. When he asks in the group, contribute 300,000 yuan. All this money is from the lottery winnings." Kelly understood immediately. "Okay, I understand. No need to say more. That's what best friends are for." A week later, the group had more than 10 people. Mark messaged the group, "Everyone, we've been friends for a long time. I'm sure you all know about my family's situation. I've spoken to each of you individually about contributing capital. Have you all made up your minds yet?" One person replied, "Brother, when a friend is in trouble, we have to help. Plus, there's a profit share. This is an opportunity for us too." Very quickly, another person added, "Done, send the account number, I'll transfer it right away." Mark quickly sent the account number to the group. I immediately transferred the money and at the same time sent a screenshot of the transaction to the group. Kelly also quickly followed suit, saying, "No need for words, just action to support friends." She also sent a screenshot of her transaction. I specifically told Kelly not to mention her relationship with Sarah in the group. I wanted Mark to be in the light and Sarah in the dark. Although the group members all knew each other or had heard of each other, the trust was quite high thanks to Kelly and me leading the way. One after another, others also contributed money. Some 100,000, some 80,000, some 400,000 to 500,000. New people continuously joined the group, and I quietly saved the entire chat history. When Mark and Sarah's scamming career was soaring, and they were counting money until their hands ached, and Sarah had completely forgotten her dream of studying abroad, I decided to make my move. I created a new email and sent all of Mark's intimate photos with other girls to Sarah, with a very prominent subject line to ensure she would open it immediately. Sure enough, just one day later, Sarah came to me aggressively. "Sis, you really picked the worst boyfriend ever. Mark is cheating with tons of girls." She opened her phone and showed me the email. I feigned surprise, widening my eyes and covering my mouth. "Oh my God, am I overseeing things? He betrayed me and is cheating with so many girls. I can't believe I helped him and even gathered money for him." I tried hard to suppress the smile on my face. Sarah was truly condemning herself. She thought I didn't know about her relationship with Mark, but in reality, Mark and I had broken up long ago. Now, we were just ordinary friends. My help to him was purely to earn some money. Sarah frowned and asked, "Broke up? When did you two break up? Last time we met at the restaurant, weren't you back together?" I shook my head. Seeing her plan to use me to take revenge on Mark fail, Sarah's expression became incredibly complicated. Sarah was naturally extremely vindictive. Anyone who crossed her, she would definitely find a way to get revenge. From her eyes, I could see that Mark's demise was not far off. But before Sarah could get her revenge on Mark, I reported him to the police for illegal fundraising. The police immediately took on the case and summoned Mark for investigation. Knowing that his scheme had been exposed, Mark immediately planned to escape. In the middle of the night, he arranged to meet Sarah again in the small grove on campus, but I had already arrived earlier, hiding and waiting for them. In my previous life, after I died, I learned that they had once conspired in this very grove to find a way to kill me. Mark dragged a large suitcase, looking at Sarah as he said, "Your sister reported me. Illegal fundraising is a serious crime. I have to run. I don't want to go to jail for this small amount of money. Don't sell me out because you're also an accomplice. If I get caught, you won't escape either. I'll definitely tell on you." He turned to leave, but Sarah pulled him back. "Wait, are you just going to leave like that?" Mark frowned and asked, "What else can I do?" Sarah glared at him. "Give me half the money. You said I'm an accomplice. Are you going to leave without splitting the money with me? I've spent a lot of money on you before. I did everything to protect you, transferring that money into your name to keep you safe. Otherwise, why haven't the police investigated me? Aren't you satisfied? You want to keep all the money." Mark was furious but tried to restrain himself. "If I don't get caught, you're safe too, and you're still not satisfied. You're still asking for money." Sarah was stunned, but quickly came up with another plan. "Then I'll go with you. We'll go abroad together. Once we're out of the country, the police can't do anything about a small case like this. The police won't chase us overseas." Mark stopped as if he had just realized something. "That's right. Abroad, why didn't I think of that? As long as we cross the border, we're safe. Where do we go now? I don't need to pack anything else. Let's go right now." Before he could finish, they both turned and left the grove. Afterward, Kelly and I focused on preparing our study abroad applications. Two like-minded best friends both chose finance. We hoped to support each other in our studies and meet again at the peak of our careers. On the family front, Sarah hadn't contacted our parents for many days. My parents asked, "What's wrong with Sarah? Do we need to report her to the police?" Looking at their graying hair, my eyes welled up. Mom and Dad had worked hard their entire lives to raise my sister and me. How could I let them suffer the pain of parents outliving their child? My heart ached, but recalling my previous life, I immediately hardened. In my previous life, after selling me to human traffickers, Sarah also swindled all of our parents' money and then cut off contact with them. The two of them had to live lonely lives in a nursing home and were abused by the staff at the end of their lives, dying of sorrow. Thinking of this, I coldly told myself, a child like Sarah, it's actually fine to not have her. Though sometimes I still couldn't understand how there could be people in this world who would willingly sell their own sister, and even their parents, for money. But after what I experienced in my previous life, I understood that such people truly exist. Looking at my frail parents, I I silently vowed in my heart, "Don't blame me, Mom and Dad. Not all blood relations are good. Some relatives are the sharpest knives that kill people fastest. From now on, I will take good care of you both so you can have a peaceful old age." I didn't tell my parents about the lottery ticket, but I withdrew 100,000 yuan, claiming it was prize money from a school competition. Then, I took my parents to the most luxurious restaurant in the city for dinner. During the meal, I told them that Sarah had gone to a training program at school where phones weren't allowed, and they shouldn't worry. Hearing this, they finally breathed a sigh of relief. Half a month later, Sarah texted me, telling me to meet her in the small grove at midnight. She looked very tired, her face gaunt under the moonlight. As soon as she saw me, she seemed to go mad. "Tina, you won the lottery, didn't you? Give me the money now. Otherwise, I'll sell you to human traffickers too." Her eyes were bloodshot, radiating a frantic madness. I asked her back, my voice cold, "I sold Mark, didn't I?" Sarah was stunned, unable to react, and blurted out, "How did you know?" Then she gave a chilling laugh. "Ha ha." I feigned surprise, widening my eyes and covering my mouth, saying, "Oh my God, aren't you afraid of being exposed? Did you really sell him to the border region?" Sarah laughed coldly. "That's right, he's in northern Myanmar now. Only when he completely disappears from within the country will the police stop looking for me." After saying that, she stepped forward, pushed me against a large tree, and with her other hand, grabbed my neck. Her bloodshot eyes stared at me as she yelled, "Tina, you've also been reborn, haven't you? Do you think you can win against me in this life? I'm telling you, it's impossible. Your fate in this life will be exactly the same as in the last." At the mention of my previous life, my hands and feet trembled uncontrollably. Sarah pulled out a knife, the tip gently touching my cheek, her voice filled with menace. "It's better if you hand over the prize money yourself. I'll make sure you suffer less pain. Otherwise, I can sell you and still get the money." I looked at her with fearful eyes, my voice trembling. "Sarah, you're my twin sister. Mom and Dad gave birth to us and raised us without any favoritism. They never let you suffer any hardship. Why would you do this to our family, to Mom and Dad, and to me? It happened in the last life, and in this life, you still have no remorse." Sarah sneered, her eyes cold. "Why? Because I am meant to be a young heiress. I should be a rich young lady. I should live in a mansion, have servants to attend to me, and be a high society socialite. But our parents are too useless. They can't give me the life I want. Being born into this family is the greatest misfortune of my life. I have to change this fate." The more she spoke, the more agitated she became, her chest heaving. As for Mark, in my previous life, I was blind to him. After we settled abroad, he used my money to find other women. When I found out, he beat me to death. She gritted her teeth as if wanting to bite through something, then uttered each word. "So, in this life, from the very beginning, I never intended for him to have a good ending." Her gaze turned back to me, her lips curling into a scornful smile. "So what if you're reborn? You think you're smarter, but you still can't beat me. Sooner or later, I'll find the prize money. By then, your fate will be no different from your previous life." I looked at her, my voice cold. "Sarah, you're too overconfident." After saying that, I quickly pulled out a can of pepper spray from my pocket and sprayed it directly into her eyes. Sarah shrieked piercingly, the knife in her hand falling to the ground. She clutched her face and fell to her knees. I looked at her, uttering each word clearly. "Those who do many evil deeds will eventually face retribution. You have no gratitude towards the parents who raised you, and you even harmed them all for money. Sarah, you should ask yourself." Not far away, police sirens wailed. Sarah tried to wipe her eyes, stumbling as she tried to run. I immediately kicked her, sending her tumbling to the ground. I grabbed her collar and dragged her out of the grove. The police arrived and arrested Sarah. I also went with them to the station to give my statement. Ultimately, Sarah was arrested for illegal fundraising, human trafficking, and attempted murder. The rest of her days could only be spent in prison, weeping within cold, four walls. Some time later, I heard that Mark's father had reported him to the police to save his son, but Mark had died on his way back to the country. The illegally raised funds had been almost entirely spent by Sarah and Mark. I used money from the lottery prize, under various pretexts, to repay the victims one by one. They were all acquaintances, and I couldn't let them suffer losses. When my parents heard that Sarah had been sentenced, they stayed up many nights, looking 10 years older in a short amount of time. I didn't know how to comfort them, nor could I tell them what had happened in my previous life. I only hoped that time would heal their pain. Once my parents gradually stabilized, I decided to announce the lottery win. Then, I took them to see a new villa. On the day we moved into the villa, I also informed them that my study abroad application had been accepted. Their initial reaction was joy, happy that their daughter could pursue a better education. But just a minute later, my mother burst into tears. "My daughter is leaving. She'll only come back after 5 years, and then it'll just be us two old people here." My father sat beside her, silent, just lighting a cigarette, his eyes red-rimmed. I looked at my parents, my heart full of guilt. When the cigarette burned out, my father patted my mother's shoulder, gently comforting her. "We don't raise children for them to stay by our side forever, but for them to be happy. Sarah made mistakes, and she must face justice. We are sad, but we must accept it. As for Tina wanting to study, that's a good thing. She has ambition, and now she has the means. We cannot hold her back." My mother sobbed, burying her face in my father's shoulder. My father turned to me and said, "Go, do what you want, as long as they are good things. Your mother and I will support you." My mother also wiped her tears and nodded. I was moved, opening my arms to embrace my parents. "Mom and Dad, I'll be back as soon as I graduate. From now on, I will take good care of you both." I left most of the remaining money for my parents, half to encourage them to retire and travel, and half for Kelly and me to use while studying abroad. That evening, I treated Kelly and my parents to a delicious meal. A few days later, we bid farewell to my parents at the airport, officially beginning our journey to study abroad.